Hello and welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia, episode 33. I'm your host, Jacob Preston. I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Black, and we are back and we are playing with power. Ryan, oh my gosh, we are a week away exactly from E3. Just imagine it. A week from today, right now, we will be freaking out about how amazing Nintendo's E3 announcements were, or we'll all be very ticked off or defending a bunch of against the haters online, or we might be one of the haters online. Hopefully we're all jumping for joy, but a week from today, man, it's like, oh, this is Christmas for gamers. I love it.
Yes, I am really excited to see what Nintendo has in store for us. I think this is going to be a big year. A lot of announcements. They've got a new system, so they got a lot going for them. I'm excited to see them succeed in this situation. I don't know if I'm getting my hopes too high. I'm trying to keep my hopes pretty low key and just like, okay, Nintendo's only going to announce what they have, what they've already announced, and they're just going to have that there. And if we get new stuff, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, but they got that new Mega Man coming. It's in there. We know it. All right? It's there.
Hey, Tom.
Whoa, yeah, guess what? Tom's with us too. He just spoke out a line. I guess Tom's getting pretty comfortable there. You don't.
I just straight Kool-Aid man that conversation. I was like, you know what? That's enough. Oh yeah, here I come.
Well, Tom, welcome. Glad to have you back. Everyone, you know what? It is a special episode. This is for Ryan and I especially. I don't know about how Tom feels, but E3 has always been a big thing for Ryan and I.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm with you.
Like especially since the GameCube days, when I started to grasp that there was a culture that I could follow for Nintendo, E3 has always been it's literally been a holiday, and I looked forward to it used to be in May. I looked forward to it every May, and that was so exciting. And then now it's here, and guys, I just want to take a moment, and I want to say thank you to every one of our listeners and everyone who's involved with the Facebook group, because literally a year ago right now, I was still working in a warehouse. I was switching around on my phone, making sure like my bosses didn't see me playing on my phone so I could like set up my podcast because you weren't allowed to play on your phone. Like, I mean, it was kind of like a don't ask, don't tell type of thing. But if they saw you do it, they'd approach you about it. And but I was listening to Nintendo Dads, and they had like a bajillion people on for their E3 predictions episode, and I listened to Bobby and Sean do their reveal of how they would reveal the NX on stage at E3 of last year, and boy, how terribly wrong were they. I mean, we all can laugh about that now.
I think we all were kind of wrong.
Oh, we all for sure wrong. But when you have a whole episode about how you would run Nintendo and how they I mean, it was when I got done hearing that episode, I was like, this is how Nintendo has to do it. And then like a week later, they said, we're only showing Zelda.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, thank you guys so much. I mean, this is a dream come true for Ryan and I. I get to express my love for Nintendo. I get to share my excitement and frustrations with a whole community of people, and that means a lot. I really am so honored and happy to have regular listeners and be able to do this with you guys. It's not just me by myself in my parents' bed or my bedroom, by myself watching Nintendo. So thank you. I just wanted to say that.
And me specifically, I love the Facebook group. So just a plug for that. If you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, you should get involved with that, because we're having the deep conversations over there, guys. We are solving all of Nintendo's problems. We are getting everything figured out, and I'm usually there to make sure everybody's in line and is correct and lines up with my way of thinking. So it's a good time.
Yeah. We all know with today's discussion, we'll talk. We'll talk about that a little later. But, well, guys, we're not going to do. This is a different episode. This is a special. This is E3 time. So this week and next week for sure are going to be a little bit different of episodes. We will say that we're going to be dropping an E3 presentation. Reaction video, not video, but a response right afterwards. Like as soon as the live event's done, Ryan, Tom, and I, and a couple of our close friends have all called off work, and we have made a vacation day out of this, and we are going to be at my house, and we're going to do a big recording. This will be the biggest recording we've ever had on Nintendo Nostalgia so far. We will have
historic feat. Oh yeah.
There will be, I think, about like six guys on one episode. So, and we're not all with our own computers. Like, so we're all in the same room. It's kind of a legitimate table discussion, but we're going to do that, get that thing out, and post it the day of E3 of Nintendo's event. So, be ready for that, and then you'll have your regular episode next Thursday. But, today's episode, no news. We're not doing that. We're not talking about what we've been playing. We're talking about E3. But so I think the most appropriate way to talk about E3 is let's get into our memories of E3. E3 is not it's grown so much over the years. I mean, drastically. It grows more and more each year. I mean, for the first time, we have the public going to E3, like that's.
No, I think they've done that before. Ryan, haven't they done that before? Where they opened it up to the public?
No, I mean, not any time recently. In the past 15 or so years, it was very easy to get in if you knew somebody who could get you tickets, like someone who like works for GameStop or something like that. But it wasn't open to the public per se. Like you can get tickets and stuff like that. So this is like the first time that anybody can buy a ticket if you can afford it and everything, and walk in and go see everything. So
interesting. I could have swore there was a time before they did that, but maybe I'm just thinking of how easy they made it in the past to actually just get in.
Yeah, I'd say back in the 64 to GameCube days, it was very easy, and it was growing in popularity then, and then it kind of like took a step back. They made it really was just for press only, and it wasn't going to be where others could get in so easily. But I think this is the first year. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I do think this is the first year that they have opened it up to where people can go. Just regular people. And I know for a fact we have one of our own listeners from the Facebook group, Andrew Swan. He is going to E3 with his wife, and he will be sending. Yeah, they are going there. He said today that they're packing for E3 and that they are they're excited, and they're going to be sending us some photos from inside and some videos, and we're going to try to get that out to everybody during the week of E3.
Another reason to join that Facebook group, guys. I'm telling you.
Yes.
You're
missing out.
We got our own insider.
Absolutely. You're missing out if you're not involved in all that. But we want you there. So come on. So Ryan, let's talk about first, what are your first experiences with E3, man? I mean, really, I didn't know about E3 till you really introduced it to me. But what do you remember the most? There's been so many of them, but I think that there's some key special ones that mean a lot to, I know at least to me, there's key E3s I think about to this day when I think about E3.
I dabbled a little bit in Nintendo and video game news prior to 2000. 2000, I started hearing about E3, but I didn't really have access to E3 or videos or anything like that. So it was still kind of like, oh, there's an E3, there's a video game convention that people can go to. That's kind of cool. But I didn't really get into things until 2001 rolled around. There was a DVD put out that I was able to get a hold of. I think it was at a GameStop that I picked that up. And it had the three. It was kind of pushed as like console wars type. Like it had like all three of the systems like duking it out or what have you. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I know what Ryan's talking about. What's kind of I don't mean to interrupt here, but it that's what I remember the most is especially during the GameCube days. Xbox had just busted out on the scene. As a matter of fact, I really think my first distinct E3 was when Xbox announced that they had bought my beloved Rare away from Nintendo, because I remember I didn't know much about Xbox. I didn't hate them as much as I do today. I remember watching the DVD, and Rare had their whole sizzle reel of their characters with Microsoft in the background, the logo, and it legitimately broke my heart. So I do remember that E3. But I also remember seeing we talk about the Nintendo press conference. That's something I want to talk about here. Back then, Reggie came on stage. Reggie was very new to Nintendo. Reggie came on stage, and he's had set off the start of many quotes that people remember to this day. But I remember him coming out on stage, and he showed off the statistics of how they've been doing sales. So it's kind of boring stuff there. I do miss the live stage event of the element of surprise, like what's going to happen next. Yeah. You never know who's going to come on stage and what they were going to say. But that was some of the key moments with these DVDs that Ryan got, though. It had the whole press conference, but then they had all the trailers that was out that they showed off was on the DVD. And then they had live footage of people playing games and demos. And like, this was my ultimate Christmas, Mom, this is why I need to get these games.
Look at these people having fun.
Demonstration. Yes, it was the same year. I believe it was the same year that Donkey Konga was shown off for the first time.
There you go.
And I know we make fun of it today, but back then I was it was fun. I was so impressed. Like, what? I can play drums with Donkey Kong, and this is the game. And like, it was supposed to have all these awesome songs, because I was really getting into bands at this time too in my life. Like, this was my start of loving music for real. And I know like Blink-182, All the Small Things was on it, and Good Charlotte was on it. And I was like, this is amazing. I can't believe I'm playing my favorite bands and Nintendo games. So, I mean, obviously, I think it kind of came out to be a disappointment, but these are just some of the distinct memories that I remember. And I would just show my mom this stuff to impress her for, I don't know, like she was going to play them with me or something. But
Ryan, on those DVDs, Ryan, what was something that stood out to you way back when?
Oh, gosh. Digging my memory a little bit here.
That's the show, man. We're nostalgia. You got to bring it up. We're cultivating that, because there's some people listening right now that are going, yeah, what is my first E3 memory? And we're digging it up, and there's somebody's going to have some endorphins hit their mind here in a second and be like, oh, I remember that. That was good. That's nostalgia. That's what we do here, folks. We dig it up.
It's just hungering for the more information. Like, it really put me in the know. It put me feeling like I was a part of something big. And that was what these connected me to. Like, I was very young, and I didn't have my own like care in the world, like my own like passion, other than I like to play video games. Right. But then like I saw this, and I'm like, wow, there's a whole world out there dedicated to video games and talking about them. And there's like, it was even the business stuff kind of fascinated me. Yeah, it's like, oh, these companies are like companies. They're not just like magical video game vendors.
They just spew magic for the masses. Yeah, they got to make $1. It's weird. Yeah,
it kind of like put things in a perspective for me and made me appreciate what Nintendo does.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I know for me, my again, old man Tom always gets to come on the podcast and spin old yarns of before the 2000s for all the young kids at home. But some of my early memories, because I was into, I loved picking up random Nintendo Powers or looking at, different magazines at the time. And I remember, I believe it was in a Nintendo Power, or no, it wasn't. I think it was an Electronic Gaming Monthly. I'll have to see which one it was. I think I kept them all. But seeing this, at E3 this year, they announced this new Zelda game, and it's completely with polygons and stuff. And there's here's Link in a 3D environment. He's fighting this skeleton, and I was like, what the heck is this? This looks pretty neat. And that was, of course, Ocarina of Time. Because right after I got my 64, I immediately was into everything 64, because I can even remember a time before that.
Yeah.
I've told you guys before, I'm a huge fighting game fan. And my love for Pokken DX kind of comes from that too. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But love fighting games and all the different things that go with it. But I remember the old arcade days of wandering around, even though I'm a youngster at 10, 11, 12 years old. And you got grown men playing these games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2. And I'm still putting my quarter up on the table there. But I remember one of my favorite games watching the other guys play was Killer Instinct, made by your boys Rare. Okay, yeah. So I remember watching Killer Instinct. That was so great to play. But in the attract mode to Killer Instinct, they were always like, coming this summer for the Ultra 64. And I was like, oh, what's the Ultra 64? And that really got my mind tickled into that. And it turned up being the Nintendo 64 as we know it now. Yep. And so my nostalgia to E3 goes back to seeing those images of all those really early this is a Zelda game in 3D. This is crazy. Oh, look at this. Is this Kirby? Are they trying to make a Kirby game? All those crazy things back then. And I was kind of hooked from there. So I looked forward to every year, back then, pre-internet kids. Here we go, dating myself again. But man, I got to wait for that E3 issue. I want to get 3 or 4 different E3 issues. I'm going to get Game Pro and Electronic Gaming Monthly and Nintendo Power. And I'm going to read them all tonight, get all the news and see what was coming out. But that's really where I started. And from there, as technology grew and we got, live streams and videos popping up online, I was on those dudes day one.
Well, I think E3 was a lot more special back then. I'll just flat out say it. I think I know what you're saying. Like, I loved getting the information of E3 from the DVDs. Like, we didn't see day and date what was shown off. It took a little while. They had to make the DVDs, mass produce them, and then sell them, get them out and sell them.
Back in my day, they were tapes, son.
Yeah. I know. Slow down, Grandpa. We know. But I remember seeing the DVDs, and I couldn't wait for my Nintendo Power to get in too. Like, that was a big source of information. The Nintendo Power, like, there is just so much. There's such a treasure lost today, like with that we don't have that anymore. I mean, we still have magazines, but by the time the magazine gets here, we already know all about it. I mean, we saw just today in the Pokemon Direct, like, all the information dropped, and we knew it the moment it dropped. I mean, I watched it from my phone. It's insane. Yeah. And Ryan and I have a rule, and you, since you are a part of Nintendo Nostalgia, you have to follow this rule this year as well.
Oh, no, what's the rule? I didn't know.
The rule is of E3, the week of E3, you have to stay off all social media.
What?
You cannot see any spoilers. You cannot see any leaks.
Leading up to. Okay.
Right. And that's the point, is that Ryan and I did it last year. We did the year before. We've done it for quite a while now.
But, okay. I thought you were talking about afterwards. I'm like, how am I supposed to defend Nintendo?
No. Afterwards, it's fine. But leading up, crap gets leaked. I mean, I think it was just when Hyrule Warriors was coming. That got leaked, or like for the 3DS, it got leaked, and that was real. Yeah. Some of it, a lot of it's fake, but I don't want to. If there is a Metroid game coming this year, I don't want to know until I see it with my own eyes from Nintendo themselves during their event. So
I can remember back just a couple years ago when they showed my boy Mega Man in Smash. Not a lot of people know this, so if there's any coworkers I had, this is a secret. Talk about not getting caught on your phone. I was watching the Nintendo Direct at work, working on a heavy piece of machinery.
Attaboy.
And no joke, when they revealed Mega Man for Smash, I wept. All right, I'll admit it to everybody right now. I did. I gasped audibly, and my eyes filled with tears, and it was beautiful.
There's no shame in that.
And if that would have been leaked to me beforehand, there's no way that moment would have been so magical and a huge memory for me.
You're absolutely right. And that's what made E3 special in the first place, were those magical moments of the surprise element. That's why, and I think that can lead us into why people over speculate every year. We saw today, we can kind of talk about the Nintendo Direct, the Pokemon Direct a little bit here, I guess. we'll talk more about it here down the road, but a lot of people were very upset. Not everyone, but a lot of people were upset with what we got revealed today in the Pokemon Direct. Why everyone got upset was because everyone in their minds and their grandma talked. People, we start as fan base in the community. We start rumors. We start and we put ideas into our own heads, and we spread it, and we put it in everyone's heads, and everyone says Pokemon Stars is coming. Pokemon Stars is coming for the Switch. Pokemon Stars is coming. So when we go there, and now may I say Nintendo or the Pokemon company Rick rolled everyone today when they opened that Direct, and the first thing you saw was the Switch, and then everyone thought it was going to be Pokemon Stars, and it wasn't. I mean, I thought for sure. I was like, this is it. This is really happening. This is really happening. And then, nope, there's the Rick roll right there.
Yeah. Ryan, what did you think? I know you didn't get to watch it until a little bit later than all of us, but what did you think of because this is really kind of a pre-E3 thing. We maybe plug this into what we're doing later, but like, this is interesting that they announced this the week before E3. So for all intents and purposes, I'm counting this as an E3 announcement, if that's okay.
Me too. I definitely feel like this is an E3 announcement. It's just priming what's going to be showed off at E3. I think they're going to have the Ultras on there. I think they're probably. Oh, they already said they're going to have, of course, Pokken there. So those are some surefire things to add to your bingo list if you want, because those Pokken and Pokemon are going to be present.
Oh yeah.
But I really liked that they did this when they did it. It's not too close to E3. It's still a week out, so it gives people time to process and maybe even change their predictions a little bit and keep it a little bit more in line than the crazy things they've had a few weeks ago. So I like that.
Or set us up for bigger surprises. One of the two.
Yeah.
I'm glad the Pokemon Company is doing this and making this decision to show it off now, before all the hype of E3 and it just get kind of buried. But it also gives us a little taste of what we can expect from Nintendo coming up. Even though it's not a straight Nintendo company, it's still Pokemon Company. So.
Yeah, I know for me, again, anybody who was on the Facebook chat today knows I was pretty active today defending this whole Direct. I know there were a lot of people disappointed by it. Jacob mentioned a little bit earlier with the expectations of this, that, or the other. I'm super excited about Pokken DX. Like, that makes me really, really happy because I love the Wii U version, Pokken Tournament by itself. I think it's a super solid fighting game. Again, I follow the fighting game scene too, and their big tournament, the big yearly, their Super Bowl, if you will, is called Evo in Las Vegas. And this past year, they had basically a charity drive. They always have 7 games you could play, sometimes 9. They have 7 games that they're having huge tournaments for, and this year they let one of them up for fan votes, and Pokken barely lost. And when I mean barely lost, I want to say it was by like $300 or something like crazy where it was, it barely lost out for the fan vote because that game is super great to play. It's super great to watch. If everybody listening has never really watched a top level Pokken tournament game, you're missing out. It's so good. I'm super hyped about it. And you guys need to respect it. I'm telling you right now.
So Ryan, what are some of the, I know I mentioned a couple things about E3 that I remember, and I really got into the time around when E3 came, but you have a better memory with this stuff than I do. I mean, do you have don't you have a distinct timeline that you've kind of written out here for today of key moments that happened with E3 with Nintendo?
Yes. I was keeping some notes on like when certain things happened based on my memory and some research. In 2000, I didn't really watch much E3 stuff. There was, I guess, one of the highlights was they showed off Dino Planet, which eventually became a Star Fox game.
Yeah.
They showed off Eternal Darkness, and then they had Conquer there, and there was like a bar set up there to make sure people knew it was like an adult type game oriented game.
Wow.
And they had the world's largest Lego Game Boy there.
Whoa! I remember seeing that picture actually in a Nintendo Power. I remember seeing that.
So that was pretty cool. But I really started getting into news about around 2001. You had Luigi's Mansion and Melee talked about. You had Pikmin was kind of a thing that burst onto the scene. The GameCube was really getting revved up. They announced the release date and launch lineup. I distinctly remember getting really upset when I found out that Microsoft announced their Xbox and it was coming out 3 days after the GameCube. I was really upset by that. I'm like, no, Nintendo does not need this competition from these money grabbers.
Yeah, who are these guys really? Like, what are they? I remember making fun of Microsoft so bad at the time going into that E3 because I heard, they're going to have their new system, blah, blah. Who, Microsoft? Yeah, they can't even make Windows 95 work half the time. How are they going to make a game console?
The GameCube, and two, that was probably right around the time where I remember I was sad. I mean, I think the GameCube name is actually pretty sweet, but I remember I was sad because it was codenamed Nintendo Dolphin, and I remember you talking to me about that all leading up to it, and I in my mind as a kid, I kept imagining like, is it going to look like an actual like dolphin, kind of like on a stand? And you,
I remember those conversations with you.
Yeah. I just didn't know what to expect. So, but I mean, the GameCube, all of it, I think is actually pretty cooler. But the Dolphin was a cool name too. That would have been unique for sure. Nintendo likes to have unique names. Side note, real fast, it's just kind of funny how like the 64. I think I have more nostalgia for than anything. And yeah, I was not involved with E3 or Nintendo Power at all during those years. Like,
I got you. Don't sweat.
You cover us there, old man. But so going on into the E3 days, when did Reggie? This was like a big pivotal change. Reggie was new to Nintendo.
I remember in 2004. Reggie coming onto the scene, and he had this edgy like quote that he quoted, and it got people excited. Like, this is a Nintendo we've never heard before. Like, Nintendo's always kiddie games, and he just came out and he cursed, and like he was like in your face. And I'm like, what? This is a new Nintendo. I'm excited. I got so hyped because this guy was like, he's intimidating. He's a big man.
Nintendo historically usually had their Japanese counterparts, give the different directs. You saw all the different guys out there. You saw Iwata and all these guys speaking kind of broken English and things. And it's not, but there is that disconnect with, especially an American audience. It's like, you feel that disconnect of like, they're over there doing their thing and they're just bringing it to us. And Reggie shows up and he's like, no. Nintendo is home, fellas. Like, this is us, and we are just as much a part of them as they are to here. And it didn't feel like the games being made so far away anymore. It felt like, no, these are games made here for us.
Right.
Not only did Reggie come on and make a huge statement, but he also showed us something new, something that we'd never seen before, something we didn't know we wanted, and that was the Nintendo DS, the dual screen.
Yep.
Yes.
We never saw that coming. Never.
Whoa, 2 screens.
I mean,
what am I going to do with 2 screens?
I remember actually writing the rumors and speculation at this time about Nintendo releasing a console with 2 screens. And in my mind, what I pictured, I remember being at your house, your parents, like sitting in your parents' dining room when I would be spending the night and thinking about what's this going to look like. And in my mind at the time, I kept picturing a GameCube. Because you and I were really into having the first original portable home console. We would put a screen on top of Ryan's GameCube, and we would take it with us. We even took it to the movie theaters because back then we couldn't drive. We walked everywhere in a big red bag. We carried all of our games.
I remember that red bag.
Yeah. He still has it, but
nice.
I remember plugging it in, waiting for a movie to start. We were like an hour early, and we just plugged it in and sat outside in line inside the theater. People probably thought we were nuts, but I remember thinking the DS was going to have like a screen like that on top, and you could separate it and have 2 screens. And I'm looking at 2 screens while I'm playing it, and at the time I was like, "This is bizarre and so high tech," but that was clearly nothing what we got.
That was also the same E3 that we saw Miyamoto come out on stage with this Link's sword and shield. That was pretty classic. Cool to see. Yep. It was the big the Twilight Princess announcement.
Yes, it was.
That was so cool.
That's that's the same year we got the classic IGN meme, wasn't it? With the guys sitting there not impressed, and then they show Zelda, and they're like, "Yeah," and they're all real excited.
That was 2003.
Was it? Okay.
We don't talk about 2003, and yeah. But then the next year, they were super excited. Like the DS, what was that?
Exactly.
Some other things to note. There were still some GBA games going on around that time. So I remember Minish Cap, and I was really into that game.
Yeah.
I was excited for that. I liked that Nintendo was getting a Kingdom Hearts game with the Chain of Memories. I was really, really happy about that. They showed off more content for the bongos with Jungle Beat. I was loving that concept. I was a little sad that it was like a single player experience. You couldn't do like multiplayer, but we'd found a way to do that by having another person on the other side and playing one side. So we made it work. And then my personal favorite DS game is Metroid Prime Hunters was announced then. And I fell in love from that point on. Like, oh, it's so good.
Well, it was special because that was the time that Metroid Prime was. No pun intended, was in its prime. I mean, that's when everything Metroid was in. I mean, the Prime stuff. So
everything's coming up Metroid.
We also saw a weird iteration of Super Mario 64 coming out for the DS.
Yes, we did. Cool. I loved it though.
And then WarioWare. I have a huge place in my heart for WarioWare games, so that was announced there too. So that was a really good year for me.
That probably has to be one of the most legendary, because you said with Zelda too. Like, I remember seeing that trailer and like getting goosebumps. I mean, we talked about it back in our Zelda Twilight Princess episode, but when I saw this, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I would get on our dial-up internet in my parents' house and just wait for this video to load just so I could watch it. I mean, I was over the moon. I remember printing off photos of gameplay and just staring at them over and over and looking through them because I was that hyped. That was, kids, that was life before what's this social media age. That is what life was.
When internet was slower than snot.
Yes. So a couple of years after that, we really started to get into the Wii days, correct?
Yes. Well, yes.
Don't you mean the Revolution?
The Revolution.
The Revolution, which was a way cooler name.
I know.
They should have kept that.
I agree.
So we got some hints dropped about this Nintendo Revolution. What were we to think? They revealed a name. They showed what the system looked like. And he said that this system in my hands, it's actually going to be smaller than this. It's going to be the size of 3 DVD cases stacked.
Yep. I remember getting 3 of my DVD cases and stacking them together just so I could get an idea, a feel of what this was going to be like. I remember doing that. It was like, yes, I cannot wait. They also did some work on the 3DS, or I'm sorry, the DS with Mario Kart. It had an online functionality, so they let people play. I was at the presentation. They let people play against Charles Martinet, who was in Seattle at the time, and was playing Mario Kart DS with them. So they had that awesome kind of internet stuff. They really wanted to push that the Revolution was going to be an internet system. They pushed that bullet point. Yeah. Ooh, good job on that one, Nintendo. That worked great. I love it.
They did announce that it was backwards compatible and had a virtual console, which went over really well.
It was very cool.
This was a year that Reggie dug out the thing he claimed was going to sell like silver dollar hotcakes. The Game Boy Micro. It was interesting. I remember seeing that. I was so hyped about everything, and then they got to that point. I'm like, why?
Yeah,
why not? The DS coming out. Why are you making this micro? And I saw like the games like stick out a little bit from it. I'm like, why would you want to play on such a tiny screen? I don't understand.
Kind of reminds me of that new 2DS they just dropped a month ago.
Yeah. Well, you got to think here. I get to spin a yarn for you guys, but you got to think back then, before or especially in the 16-bit era, they would do that. They had like an original launch system, which was kind of big and bulky. They had a second gen. The Super Nintendo had one. The Sega Genesis had one. That they were a little slimmer. And then like right at the tail end, when you were like, "Why are you releasing this?" They would always put out like a really small one. That was like.
Right.
And I feel like this was the end of that era. I mean, I say that, and then you brought up the new 2DS, but because you had, even with the Game Boy Advance, you had the big Game Boy Advance no light, you had the Game Boy SP with the backlight, and then right at the end you get this nice Game Boy Micro. It made sense to me in my brain at the time.
Right. Well, there was even a Wii Mini. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
there was a Wii Mini. They didn't do it during the Wii U days, but the Wii, yes.
No, it didn't have like internet functionality really, which it was kind of discontinued by that time, pretty much.
Never
anyway.
really did.
Yeah.
Some of the games that we saw in that year was we saw Nintendogs come be announced. Electroplankton was kind of a quirky like music game. I actually really enjoyed it. I definitely picked that one up.
Garbage. Bobby Paul's, that is a trash game. Electroplankton.
Hey now.
It was fine.
It was experimental.
Yeah, sure.
We had Animal Crossing Wild Worlds teased. That was cool. That was really cool. There was an Advanced Wars game mentioned for the DS.
Yeah, Dual Strike, baby.
Yep. There was a
great game.
Surgical Trauma Center game.
I have that, and I love that game.
We had Beautiful Joe coming to the DS, which was kind of cool, I guess. Yeah. This is the E3 that we found out about Wolf Link being in Twilight Princess.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that was kind of really cool. There was this
really jogging my memory right now.
There was a rare DS cart that they gave to people at the presentation, where you could watch the trailer from that E3 presentation. So yeah, if you have one, you're probably sitting on a lot of money there. It's hard to find.
Hit me up, I'd buy it.
Yeah, no, right? That's weird.
Collector and me.
So the next year, guys, Revolution was no more.
Yep.
The Revolution had a new name, and boy, what a name it was! 3 little letters.
We don't talk about it.
Although the name was stupid, I have to admit, during this time, I thought I think that the Wii, I think the Switch is better in this, but I thought the Wii was the sexiest looking piece of hardware Nintendo had ever released. Like, I thought the little white remote controllers, I thought it looked high tech. I thought it looked next level. I thought it looked really cool. Now, granted, I'm not saying that the controllers are better than a traditional gaming controller. I do not prefer that way to play, but at the time I thought it was new and foreign and different, was cool to me for how I thought. I thought this was like, this is the future because it's got the motion in it. And I thought the system looked sleek and nice. They had white, green, red, blue. They showed off a lot of color variations that I don't even think half of them came to the market, but it looked really cool for what it was. Its initial, that's what I remember. That's my nostalgia. That's how I felt when I initially saw this stuff get announced.
This was the year that Mario Galaxy was announced, Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
So they had some big things going for them. They did show off the motion controls of the Wii, so that was kind of the big item there. They announced the DS Lite. Of course, Wii Sports. That was how they showed off the motion controls, which was really cool to see. I like the novelty of it. And then they did drop some Super Smash Brothers characters. They announced them. It was kind of like at the end of the episode or the end of the presentation, and they did the whole like thing they've been doing for years now for Smash Brothers, where they showed like Pit and Wario and Meta Knight and Zero Suit Samus, and then it cut to black, and then you hear that sound go off. That familiar Metal Gear sound.
Yep.
And they announced Snake. Oh my gosh. The crowd
went
crazy.
Next level.
The crowd went crazy that year.
Oh yeah.
Very legendary.
So in 2007 and the years to follow up to, I believe it was 2000, I want to say 2010 or so, they got a little weird they announced a lot of sports, like fitness stuff, like Wii Fit, and that added some weird add-ons like Wii Zapper, Wii Wheel, and of course the balance.
My body is ready.
And they had some weird things come out during this time. And it's kind of an awkward transition. It was cool that they were experimenting, but
it was an experimental time.
I think I was glad when we finally moved out of that.
Yes.
And got into the later. the later part
Definitely.
once 2010 rolled around, Nintendo started picking up again.
The 3DS.
Yes, the 3DS was announced then. Then we kind of heard about the Zelda Symphony in 2011, and of course they announced the Wii U. Moving on into 2012, we saw Nintendo Land. This is the games that came out for Wii U. They announced Miiverse. Gave you that weird system uniqueness that we see now today. And then that gets us into when Nintendo really stopped doing the presentations.
I think Nintendo, after the Wii U debacle, I think it was just another final bad live stage presence. You really saw a different Nintendo, and we saw it with the directs, and that brings us to today. So let's go ahead and get ready to talk about for today. I know we're getting a live event, so it's going to be something I assume pre-recorded, some stuff and some stuff on stage. They usually do, so guys, this is where we're going to transition to Nintendo of today, and we're going to talk about our Nintendo 2017 E3 predictions. All right, guys, let's get into the meat of what everyone's been waiting for this show, and let's talk about E3. There's been a lot of I'm happy about when we're doing our episode, because there has been every week some new breaking information that debunks a lot of other predictions that I've heard from a lot of other different shows that I listen to. So a couple weeks ago, Nintendo outlined their E3 plans, and they said the focus will be on Nintendo Switch, mainly focusing on 2017 games that'll be coming out this year. So that already knocks out a bunch of highlights for Nintendo 3DS and 2DS.
Sure.
I think they said they will be on the show floor, but they're not going to focus on that. So I think we can rule out games predictions for that stuff.
Right.
We mentioned earlier that there is a Pokemon Direct today. So if anyone had a bunch of Pokemon news, some of it might have gotten already announced, or it's not what you thought would be announced from the Pokemon Company. So we had that, and then and guys, we never really talked about it much, but we talked about playing the test punches. But they had an entire direct over just 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? They had the ARMS.
3
weeks ago. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, because there's been 2 weekends of test punches. 3 weeks ago, they had an ARMS direct with a little bit of Splatoon in there. And you know what that? You know what that tells me? That tells me Nintendo is getting everything out of the way of that had questions that needed to be answered, but they didn't want to focus on at E3.
That's stuff that's all going to be at the Treehouse. We're going to see gameplay maybe, but it's not going to be part of the announcements.
Right.
Yep, I agree.
Because ARMS is it releases like the week after E3. Is that correct? ARMS does? I know it's in June, so it's releasing.
What is the date? I can't remember.
Look that up, Tom. I know it. Yeah, it releases this month. And then
the 16th or the 17th.
Yeah.
16th to the somewhere in there. It's a Friday, isn't it?
Somewhere.
So maybe the Friday. Is that really how close ARMS is to coming out?
Whoa,
wow.
June 16th, fellas.
Yeah. Wow, that's really
next
close.
week. That is next week.
Wow.
Well, the week after E3, but and then the next month we have Splatoon 2. And guys, let's face it, Splatoon 2 is Splatoon 1 just on the Switch and with more updates and a newer story. I'm not saying it's not the exact same game. There's going to be a lot of new features to it, but I don't think there's a big enough difference that where Nintendo will spend a lot of time at E3 talking about it.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Definitely.
So with all that said, I think we kind of have a clearer path than what most other shows have had because it's impossible to predict exactly what E3 is going to happen, except for when you're on Nintendo Nostalgia. So everybody, this is what's going to happen. We're going to roll out the live event here for you, and I'll kick it off with how I think it's going to start off, and then we're all going to kind of just discuss about what we think of all this. I think when we sit down and you have the countdown for the live event, the first thing that's going to pop up is we are going to see Mario. And it is going to be all about Mario Odyssey from the get-go. And we're going to get an official release date for the game for later this year. And then we're going to get a line of amiibo for the game that they will show off as well. You guys have any objections to that? What do you think? Do you like that? Because I don't.
I think that's what I had written down. I think that's exactly how they kick it off this year. You let the Switch click bring you in, and you fade that red into Mario's hat, and you go to town. Just show us New Donk City or whatever we got in there.
Yeah,
I can agree with that. I'm a little leery on the amiibo part, but we'll see. I don't know whether Nintendo's going to spring on amiibos hugely in the future.
I think they will. I mean, after how good it did with Zelda Breath of the Wild, they had a whole line of it. I really think why not capitalize on this? I think it well, the famous hats, you could see many different I could see amiibos playing a big use in the hat market for the game.
The hat market.
I would like to get a Bowser amiibo with him in his tux or his suit, his hat, fancy hat.
That would be sweet.
That would be cool.
But I think the amiibos are done, if you ask me. I don't know. There might be a few amiibo announcements, the whole thing, but I don't know. I think they're on their way up.
Color me surprised if they keep it going.
Well, I mean, they make money. Let's be fair.
They make fat cash off of amiibos. There's no way they're going to kill amiibos. If they're going to keep the stinking 3DS line alive, they're going to keep the amiibos alive.
So we're definitely going to get Mario starting out. So do you think we're going to hear some lesser games after this?
I think that's exactly where they go. Maybe they do their Nindy spotlight.
Well, I honestly don't think it's going to be all indies right at once. I think what they may do is they'll do a big game because Mario Odyssey is what everyone's waiting for. We know it's going to be there. I think after that, they may do a couple smaller games and then they get into another big game. So if we're focusing on just 2017 games that are coming out for the big stuff, we have Xenoblade 2. Is that correct? Xenoblade? Xenoblade 2 is a game.
I think that's going to be the big one that they're going to have towards the middle of it. I don't see it as a big wrap-up kind of game, but I think they're going to have a lot of content or something really groundbreaking to show on that. Maybe even a release date that's within this year would be really huge, even though a lot of people are skeptical that that's even going to happen. So
I think it will. I think that's why.
It depends on how long they've been developing the game. If they started from scratch right when the Switch was announced, no. Right. But if they've got things running longer than that, they knew about the Switch ahead of time, they've got it.
They absolutely do. Yeah. They've already reiterated on it twice that it is coming out this year. So I really think that the game's probably close to being done. I really do. And that'll be probably a holiday game, maybe.
There you go, coming December 31st of this year.
Yeah.
That gets it in, right?
It's 2017, daggone it.
Tom, where do you think they go next after? So say we got Mario Odyssey, and then say they just go right into Xenoblade 2. What do you think they do next?
Right out of that, I think they've highlighted some Switch stuff. They come back to a nice like they did for the original Switch reveal. They come back to this nice place to talk about the Switch a little bit and maybe show some new features to the Switch, getting added through the software, specifically Virtual Console. I know Ryan's over there whispering it and mouthing it. Dude, it has to be here. It has to happen this year.
Yes.
It absolutely has to happen.
GameCube Virtual Console is one of those things that they're going to announce.
And I have written down here on my notes that I think they're gonna 1-2 punch us right in the mouth. They're gonna be like, "Hey, Virtual Console," and we're gonna be like, "Yay!" And they're gonna be like, "Yo, we're also putting all the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games on Virtual Console." And
that would be great.
Yay! Everybody gets excited. And they're like, "Oh yeah, make sure you download these new GameCube games on your virtual console,
Yes.
and then I'm done. I die, and I don't worry about the rest of the conference.
Okay, but let me ask you. Now that was the big news last week was Nintendo's online service plans. Now, does the virtual console, did that contradict about there being any possible talk about it at E3, or do you think that kind of debunked that?
No, they actually said that it's completely separate from Virtual Console. Like their announcement they made, it's actually two separate things. They'll have a service where you can play their NES games, maybe SNES games, but they'll have a Virtual Console. You can actually buy dedicated games for them.
Yep.
Okay, I did not realize that. So that actually could have. Do you think it'll be one of those things where it's like, and it's available today, or do you think it's?
Yes, I do. I think that's
I hope so.
That's their bomb. That's their bomb, man. I think they do. They go virtual console. You can download blah blah blah, and then they go here's
watch the
GBA.
dollars fly.
Oh my gosh! And then it's like, and you can download the virtual console app onto your Switch today, and there will probably be a mess where people wake up the day of and they're like, oh my gosh, virtual console's on the Switch right now because somebody accidentally flipped the Switch too soon or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That would be amazing, and that's exactly why I'm going to stay away from spoilers. If that is something, that's something that get leaked probably.
I do think they're going to show something that shows off the Switch in some way, like not like a 1-2 Switch, but something of that vein. Maybe a WarioWare. We may see like a little tease of that. Something that shows off something unique you can do with the Joy-Cons. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see something like in the works there because that's something that Nintendo's been doing a lot.
Show what makes the system unique. I mean, you date back to even the 64 with the analog stick. I mean, Mario 64 was a pretty big showcase for like, check this out, analog gaming.
Maybe something with the HD Rumble that takes it even further than what we thought. Like, here's like people are talking about how the HD Rumble can make its own unique sounds. Even you can like it almost sound like a speaker and how it vibrates. So we might see some cool uses of those.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we've got a few big games. We've got Virtual Console. Some big bombs have dropped. So we're going through the E3 Direct. What do you see happening next? Do you see it wrapping up?
No.
Something else coming up.
I really think they're going. They have to cover Fire Emblem. They already talked about. They're going to show off Fire Emblem Warriors. That's going to have another trailer, and then they're going to show some gameplay. I think that's the exact same thing you're going to get with Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade 2. They'll show a small trailer, and then they'll show some gameplay talking about details, and they'll move on. But let me be clear real quick, okay? The window's looking like a half hour to 40 minutes, I think I've seen somewhere in there for how long the live event will be. So I think if Nintendo wants to be the most effective, they should do it this way. I don't know if they will, but this is what I think they may do is it's going to be a trailer, talk about some key things within the game while showing gameplay, move on, okay? But I think we're going to get Fire Emblem Warriors doing that, and then I think at the end they show off a full trailer for Fire Emblem for the game that's coming out in 2018. Because we talked about their main focus is the 2017 games, but that does not mean they will not show off a game or two for 2018 to just give us because right now Mario Odyssey is all we know. We have gone looking forward to Zelda. And then after Zelda, the big game that keeps everyone excited for, we have all these games in between, okay? And don't get me wrong, there's phenomenal games. That's what keeps the system alive. But let's be honest, we're all looking forward to the big cake at the end of the year, and that's Mario Odyssey. But Nintendo hasn't shown us anything beyond 2017. So we need that next big game. It's kind of like the next 6-month increment. What's the game coming out in 6 months? And that very well probably could be Fire Emblem, could be a different game.
I think this is the point in the presentation where they take third parties and bring them to the forefront, show off what they have, what they're bringing to the table.
I agree.
I think they need to do that. I mean, they've had so many third parties come in and give their news. They have one or two usually in the past few years. That's been kind of the trend. I think we've seen that, or we've seen some mention. Even if we see some things like soccer in a sizzle reel, that's understandable. Like
Sure.
if they did a third-party sizzle reel, it wouldn't surprise me. But I think they're going to have at least one or two companies, or they're going to announce like Square is developing this for the Switch or something. We're going to hear those titles that we thought, hey, that should have come to the Switch, like Stick of Truth, if you will.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry,
Man.
the Fractured. The South Park game. That's it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I think we're going to hear from some of those games, say, hey, this has come to the Switch, and then we'll see where do you think it'll go from here? Like after they've mentioned third parties.
Yeah, because I think I think you're right there, because once you get done with this virtual console news, give it a breather. All right, you need keep it exciting, but you need to take it down a notch because that's what you do. I think you show some of these games that those should already be there, and I think there's a couple in there too. We know that Monster Hunter game's coming out. XX doesn't have a Western release date yet. That's a good time to just throw that in there.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Maybe even lead that into the thing that had been leaked with the Mario Cross Rabbids game.
Yeah. That's a kind of a low key announcement since people kind of know it's coming. So
let it breathe.
I agree. I mean, I think we got. I'll recap. We got Odyssey. We got what I say after Odyssey.
I think you mentioned something about
Xenoblade 2, and then we think they're going to start to. They'll talk somewhere about Virtual Console, and then after that, I can see totally some third parties coming in, and just maybe a sizzle reel, like you said. It's not like nothing crazy unless there's like some massive third party game dropping, I guess. But
my dark horse pick. Yeah, my dark horse pick right now. You heard it here first, folks. Tekken 7 for Switch.
Oh gosh, I would love that. Please do it.
I'm telling you, there's no reason it shouldn't be on Switch. It works.
My favorite fighting game series. Yes, please. Well, Smash Brothers is my favorite, but
Pokken is made by kind of part of that Tekken team. Nintendo's really had this close relationship with Bandai Namco, with Smash Brothers and Pokken tournament. I think Tekken 7 shows up in the third party section.
Cool.
That would be good.
So and then I do think we'll get the Fire Emblem stuff. I do think they're going to talk about it. I don't think this is the whole conference here. So I do think we have time. They're going to obviously. I think they're going to talk about our indies. I think we'll get a big focus on indies. Now everyone's talking about. Let's take a break from what we think will happen, and I wanted to focus on the what everyone else thinks. What do you guys think that people have been saying that will not happen? Like, I have heard stuff over and over again that makes me want to pull my freaking hair out because I'm tired of hearing about it every prediction episode. I'll kick it off. We are not. I'm talking to you, Chris White.
Whoa, name
Marty
drop.
Estes, and John Capri and everybody else out there. And Mark, guys, we're not getting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is done. We are moving on. We can enjoy with what we have. You have tons of racetracks. You have tons of characters. We're done. So I do not think we'll get it. And I'll eat some cake if I'm wrong. I will, because you guys know me. I like to work out. I don't like to consume a lot of calories. Oh, I mean, I do like to consume calories.
You're actually punishing yourself with real cake. I thought maybe like a cake made of something. You're saying, no, I will eat actual cake.
I will eat a Mario Kart cake. I can buy one from Meyer. And then I will post a photo about it if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure I won't be wrong, and you'll all be eating cake. No Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. No more.
Right.
I could probably agree with you here. I can see the Mario Kart DLC being a thing, but not announced here. I could see it maybe announced after they announce a new Mario Kart coming to the Switch, and they're like, hey, to hold you over, we're going to release this DLC for what already exists. Yeah. But I don't see that happening now. It's too early in the console. People are demanding it, but I don't think I think there's other things that can fill that void of what they want new stuff, and that's a terrible thing to
the game just came out with a whole bunch of new DLC. Technically, I mean, we're not going to get more, and it's like that Pokemon thing. People set up these expectations for things, and they convince themselves that this is going to happen, and then when it doesn't happen, they're ticked off at Nintendo, and it's not Nintendo's fault; it's our own faults.
So let me kind of turn this subject a little bit and see what you guys think about this. because I know there's a lot of things people are saying are going to happen. And yeah, I think I would like some Mario Kart DLC, but I don't think it's happening. But I will say there is something I've heard a lot of people say, and I'm one of these guys. So I want to see what you guys say about it, if I'm right or wrong. I think we're getting Smash Brothers Deluxe, man. I think we're getting that Wii U port, quote unquote, over to the Switch. And I just think it's tasty because I got a lot of reasons behind it. I don't know if you want to go into them now.
Yeah, let me hear them.
Okay, because my biggest thing is the way the Wii U version and 3DS version both were very highly supported. I mean, we got DLC characters on the regular. There were balance patches constantly in the game. It was awesome. It was super healthy. And then one day they just ghost towned. And it was around the same time they were saying, oh, we're only showing Zelda this year. It was around the same time that everything for the Wii U just kind of cut off. Same thing with Pokken, the original Pokken tournament. We never got any of the DLC that came out in the Japanese arcades for that. Like, just Wii U turned into a ghost town after that, including Smash Brothers support, which was so well supported. And I personally think it's because they said, change gears, we're porting it to Switch. And that's why I think we're getting that this year, because there's 3 games that sell Nintendo consoles, 4 things, I'm sorry, that sell Nintendo consoles more than any other thing in the entire world. That's Mario, Zelda, Mario Kart, and Smash Brothers. And I think if you can say that in the first life cycle, the first year of the Switch, you got a Zelda, a Mario Kart, a Mario game, and a Smash Brothers game. That looks really good on your sales figures for next year.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Ryan?
I can hope. I understand that they went silent. I know Sakurai said he was really tired, and he was. He put a lot of stuff into it. Yeah. So he's gotten a break. He says he was working on a new project. Now, do I think that Smash Brothers, do I think that it even takes Sakurai to make a port to the Switch with the extra stuff? Right. Or, like, are we going to see that? I don't. There's some things that are suggesting no, but at the same time, my hopes are high on that. Like, why
me too. This is going to be my one pick that if it doesn't happen, this is where I'll get to be an internet, troll for a little bit of like, oh, they didn't give me my Smash Bros.
They would if they did it, they would combine, the Smash Run, and they'd combine like the board game feature of the Wii U one.
Definitely.
And they'll have like combined stages possibly, or like stages from both and things like that. Maybe some new characters. I think if that does happen, we'll see Ice Climbers, because it wouldn't be limited by the 3DS was a limitation there. And to have a Switch that a system that combines both portable and the other, I think they can actually run Ice Climbers no problem in a deluxe edition. So I can see that being on the table, but there's some things pointing to that not being a reality, at least not for this E3 for this year.
What do you think, Jacob? Am I crazy, or is everybody else crazy?
You're not crazy as in the fact I do think it's coming. I do not think we're going to see it at E3. I don't think it's necessary. And the fact is, I think it's a 2018 game. I think it's
but I want it now.
Yeah, I know.
Don't we all?
We all want it now,
right?
But well, not me, because remember that game's trash. But I had just poking the bear there. But no, like here's what I think is going to happen, Tom. Actually, I think this route works better. I think if the virtual console drops like we think it will, I think you're going to get Melee for the GameCube, GameCube Talk, and I think that is going to hold people over for the rest of the year. And then I like that. I think in the first quarter or so of 2018, that's when you get your Smash Bros. Deluxe.
Time out. I need to pause for a second. The fact that I never thought that Melee could come to the virtual console and have online support, I would cry for days. Like, just I couldn't even play it because of tears. Like, I couldn't.
I had to practice that game again. But yeah, I really think I think that I could see that happening. Because people have wanted it. People have been wanting Smash Bros. Melee back and put it on the virtual console for GameCube drops. That will hold you over for the rest of the year for your Smash Bros. Fix. And then part of their trickle-out effect, because they want to trickle out all these games, we'll see a deluxe version get released in the first half of 2018. That's what I think. Just kind of like Mario Kart 8 was the deluxe, came out right there in between and getting from winter to spring. I think that could easily be a Smash Bros. For next year. Like, they've already got it slotted out.
So let me get this straight before we move on.
Okay.
You think we're getting Melee this year?
I think it will be announced with Virtual Console games.
Portable Melee.
My goodness, I can't. We got to move on. Because my brain.
Okay.
Man. I love the idea. Don't get me wrong. I love the idea. That would kill me with excitement if that's true. But
and I mean, that could be one of those far-fetched ideas. I mean, it may not be. But I don't think whether we get that or not. I still don't think you're going to hear about deluxe Smash Bros. Either way. So.
Okay.
Any other rumors you guys have heard or ideas that you want to debunk before we move on?
No Metroid.
You're debunking that. You're debunking the no Metroid rumor, correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't think we're getting a Metroid.
Why?
Oh, okay.
Because I said so.
We're gonna see some. I will fight you on that one because we're gonna see something from it because. Retro has been quiet for too long. So, and
hey, you're right. You're right.
They pulled on the Deus Ex composer, and they have a lot there that I think we're going to see like a screenshot, something like what we saw for Metroid Prime's reveal.
Yeah.
Like we'll see there's that little teaser to get you like and hear the music and like, oh
hey,
yeah.
I'm not saying I don't want it. I should make that very clear. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. I don't want to think it's coming because I think this is one of those things where I don't want to see it coming at all. Therefore, I will even say that it's not happening to everyone else so that I can be very surprised and very wrong and very happy.
Now, to further back your thoughts on that, though, there is some things to back that up. The talk that Reggie dropped some hints that asked by this time next year about Metroid. So we may not see something until next year, literally, like about Earthbound, about Metroid. So we may not.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even think about Earthbound.
Yeah, that'll be a day one drop, possibly too, if Virtual Console comes. I could see that.
Everybody's waiting for the third one in the series. So,
yeah.
So that's kind of like the hopes there. So.
Forgot about that.
Okay, well, we'll save some little bit of Metroid talk later on down the road. So let's. Ryan, you brought up retro. That was my next question for everybody. I think it's time. I do think we will hear from Retro Studios. It's been 4 years? 4 years, is that correct? That 3 to 4 years that we've heard anything from them since Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was released. What is Retro working on? If it's not Metroid, Tom, what is Retro working on?
If it's not Metroid, I think if it's not Metroid. Ooh, I didn't really think about this when you put me on the spot. But if it's not Metroid, then it has to be either a new IP. What that is, I don't know because it's new. I don't know. Or I think your boy Donkey Kong is back again. I love Tropical Freeze.
I hope not.
You don't.
Shut your mouth.
I loved Tropical Freeze. I thought that was an excellent
amazing
game.
They just got a long.
Be upset for another one.
They had a long string of DK games, and so I kind of want to give a rest from it for now.
Yeah,
I'd like to see a rest.
They only made 2. It's long string. We don't have enough Donkey Kong games.
Well, you have what was it, King of Swing, and you had.
Oh, come on! Those were not true Donkey Kong games. I mean, they were.
But you had a Donkey Kong game consistently coming out, like announced at an E3 or what have you. So I feel like that's something that could take a rest.
Yeah, I will say this: the only kind of I only want to see Donkey Kong if the Kremlings are back. That's the only way I want to see Donkey Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, guys, I don't know. Look, I muted my mic for a second, and I went and I looked at Retro Studios history just to get an idea.
Yeah.
Man, I think it's Metroid. I don't. I know I just got done saying no Metroid, but you're right. All signs point to Metroid.
Okay. Well, I'll talk here. I was a guest on Life of Gaming podcast, another Nintendo E3 predictions episode, and my big guess was a different game would be coming out from Retro. And actually, listening to another podcast, the Nintendo Dad's E3 prediction podcast last week, something actually it changed my mind a little bit, because I no longer think that the game I said on their show would be coming. From Retro. I do think this game that I'll talk about later on is coming, but I don't think it's Retro working on it anymore. I actually do think that either it's going to be Donkey Kong or Metroid from Retro, but like you said, Tom, I think all signs point to Metroid. I do think we will get, whether it's a full-on trailer or a teaser, we will hear something about Metroid. I do.
Mm-hmm. I am going to say that we're not going to hear anything about a Diddy Kong Racing this close to Mario Kart. If there's going to be some kind of new entry in that series.
Hey, I didn't say what my game was, Ryan. What are you talking about?
Oh, no, I haven't actually listened to any of those podcasts, so I haven't listened to you. Sorry.
Oh.
that was just me, like, just speaking like without any knowledge of what your predictions were.
Did you guess that right, Jacob?
Yeah, I said Retro was working on Diddy Kong Racing 2.
I hadn't heard it yet either. Yeah.
So Ryan's wrong. And thank you guys. You just told Life of Gaming that you don't listen to their show. Shame on you two. I listen, guys.
I like Nintendo nostalgia.
I love you guys, but no. Okay, I said on their show that Retro would be working on Diddy Kong Racing 2, and I point out some points. But after listening to the Nintendo dads, Josh from the BitBlock said a good point that I think that would makes a lot more, not a lot more, but makes sense. Monster Games makes a lot of unique racer games. And they worked on porting. They have made a game for Nintendo a long time, but they ported Donkey Kong Country Returns to the 3DS. Okay. So they've been having experience with Donkey Kong. Right. I easily think, and it makes more sense to me after hearing Josh talk about it, they make unique racer games for Nintendo specifically, and they just got done working with the Donkey Kong license for, I mean, not just done, but they worked with it recently. I very well could see them saying, hey, you make racer games, Nintendo says this to them, right? You worked with Donkey Kong, make us our Diddy Kong Racing 2. That is what I think will happen. Sure.
But you think that's coming this year?
I think it'll get I don't know if it'll be this year, but I think it'll be shown off.
Oh, okay.
As it could be a 2018. I do think it's good. If it's not this year, it's 2018 for sure.
Sure.
2017 looks pretty crammed full, so I don't know where it would fit on the list.
So you think that's how they end this year's E3 is maybe with a look forward to 2018?
I do. I think we're going to get some surprises. At least definitely the last trailer, it'll be, this is to look forward to 2018. My reasonings for Diddy Kong Racing 2, guys, it's not because I just want one. It's because I said on Life of Gaming, I'll just say it here too. We are coming to a close with Mario Kart 8. I do firmly believe that. Diddy Kong was not put in Mario Kart at all. He's been a racer. Yeah. They have not touched him. They had an opportunity to put him in as DLC. They didn't, and they had an opportunity to put him in with the deluxe. Instead, they chose other characters. Diddy Kong would have been a top tier choice to put him in for DLC, especially being in other racers. He's a very popular character. He's more popular than Dry Bones Bowser, I'll tell you that. So he wasn't touched. But and back a couple years ago when I was getting married, Nintendo also trademarked the name Diddy Kong Racing again. They had re-trademarked it. I just think there's signs pointing that it's definitely in the works, and I think it's about time to show it off. So
yeah, I can see if it's in the works. That's fine. I'm with Ryan on this. Yeah, I'm with Ryan on this. I don't think we hear anything about that. Even if it's coming, I don't think we get a trailer or anything. I think there is a zero Diddy Kong Racing this year.
You are wrong, Smash Bros. Boy.
Okay, but you got to admit, Smash Bros. Is way more likely than Diddy Kong Racing 2 this year. Ryan, you be the judge.
It shouldn't be.
Smash Brothers, yes. Smash Brothers Deluxe, no.
What?
Okay, let's go that. Okay, so Diddy Kong Racing 2, that's kind of like my big game that I think will be showing off this year in some form or another. I mean, besides Metroid, I think everyone's kind of feeling the same thing about Metroid. I guess, Tom, what is your one big game that you hope that you legitimately can see coming this year? So
I don't know about legitimately could see coming. That makes it difficult for me. Again, my kind of dark horse pick was that Tekken 7. I think Tekken 7 is kind of like, no one's really going to see that coming, but it makes sense for it to be there, and I think it'll do well on the Switch. But I will say my dream, my When You Wish Upon a Star dream is for whatever reason, they resurrect Mega Man Legends 3, and it's on the Switch, baby, and it's going to be beautiful and wonderful and lovely. But that's my dream, and I know I have zero founding for that. That's just my. If they did that, I'd be so happy. Like I would probably not care about anything else. I'd just be like, I needed that. Thank you.
Okay. Ryan, and what about you, my friend? You've been kind of silent here.
There's a bunch of things I could throw in this category. Like,
yeah.
It's just there's a bunch of things I'd love to see come around, and I think one that's kind of safe. Nothing's really been mentioned about it, but there's a big cliffhanger at the end of the second one, and I really want to see them continue this series, especially with the HD graphic capabilities. We didn't see it on the Wii U like I'd hoped, but I really want to see a Conduit entry.
Oh,
Sega, I believe, has its hand in that, so we may see something from that. But I really want to see a Conduit series. It left it on a huge cliffhanger. There was like, where did that come from? It was very wacky. It was very weird, and it was a good story. And so I'd love to see that showed.
Never played them, but I heard good things.
Very interesting. I do want to throw out just one honorable mention here. I think we all could possibly agree on this. The one rumor that I feel is that people can see coming is I think Pikmin 4 could be shown off this year.
As much as I would love that,
Miyamoto already said it was done. He said it was done for the Wii U.
Well, maybe he was thinking of Hey Pikmin or whatever they're calling it now.
I don't think so. I could see if there's a game that catches everyone off guard, it's going to be Pikmin 4. I don't think there's going to be Animal Crossing. I do not.
Again, I don't think
one.
I don't think there's going to be a Pikmin 4, but I am not complaining if there is. I would love that.
I don't think Animal Crossing will be shown off this year either. I mean,
I'll be sad, but I understand too. I would love to have a Animal Crossing on my Switch, honestly. I would love that so much.
Yeah, it makes sense for it to be on the Switch also.
But let's be realistic. If we get Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Metroid, Animal Crossing, Pikmin, Smash Bros, it's not all
loading it up a little bit, yeah.
It's not all going to happen, guys.
Yeah, if we put it that way, it's like, wow, that would be a killer.
Well, not with that attitude. All right.
It's not. I mean, come on.
I believe in my heart.
Yeah, I did that with Pokemon Stars today, and that did not happen.
There you go.
So,
yeah, we all got a little upset about that, didn't we?
Yes. So with that said, guys, don't expect every heavy hitter like we just talked about. That's what we all want. But as of today's Pokemon Direct, you see what Nintendo likes to do. Here comes Pokemon Stars, and nope, it's Pokken Tournament.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we kind of mapped out the show of how we think it's going to roll out. Mario Odyssey, some Amiibo showing off. We're going to get some shown off. We're definitely going to see Xenoblade 2. We're going to see some Virtual Console. I do think that we will see Virtual Console, and that could be like a wishful thinking kind of thing that people could say, but I do think we'll see it. I
think it'll be a big negative if they don't.
Oh, absolutely. They need to at least mention it. I mean, it doesn't even have to spend a lot of time on it, but
coming this fall or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fire Emblem, I do believe we'll see more about both games. And then I do think Metroid is the one that we're all hoping for and wishful. I think all that stuff is for sure going to happen. And then the one I want to happen and I can see it happening is Diddy Kong Racing 2. And you guys don't see that.
Nope, disagree.
Okay, you will.
Listen, I'll eat. If you're going to eat cake, I'll eat a salad.
You got it. Deal. I'll have the salad nice and ready made for you during the live event.
Nice. Excellent. I'll bring cake.
Well, guys, any final thoughts on E3? I've been looking forward to this episode, and I love it. So what do you guys, any closing moments here?
For me, I'm just ready to see how this goes. I'm really excited, like you said, to get together. It's the first time I ever really got together for an E3 thing. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do that and be able to rub all my correct predictions in your face live. It's going to be good.
Oh my gosh.
I have high hopes for this E3 to not be like 2003's E3, which was kind of lackluster and kind of boring.
Yeah.
And then also the 2015 E3 where they just announced a bunch of games that were just huge flops, like Federation Force and Triforce Heroes and Amiibo Festival, and there was a lot of flops there. There was a lot of flops, and so I think recovering from that, like, and then just having like the next year having a Legend of Zelda exclusive, I think this year is their time to sing. It's really them to come and really bring out big guns, and it's their spring back for sure.
Definitely, yeah. This is all get me to Christmas right now, and I think that's going to be their big thing. And with their direct style of presenting stuff, they can easily just get us to Christmas, and then this winter get another direct that gets us super pumped for 18. You know.
Yep, absolutely. And and let's be honest here. I think Nintendo has a lot of cards they can play. And it's all about how they're going to play those cards. Yeah. Honestly, I think Nintendo will have a successful E3. I don't think they would have to try really hard to screw this up. I mean,
Virtual Console will ruin it if they don't have it. That would be the only thing that ruins it for me.
I mean, even if they didn't have it, but if they backed it up with some awesome unexpected games that we want that we weren't sure we were going to get, that can make up for it. I really think it's just a matter of how they want to play their cards. Mm-hmm. So, I look forward to seeing some great stuff. I look forward for some down moments. Like, I do not care about Fire Emblem, and Xenoblade 2, honestly, I don't really care much about, but I do expect them to be there. Like I said, I care more about Metroid and Mario and Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong and stuff like that. So, it'll be a good time in general.
I think so too.
I'm excited about it, and I'm just excited to hang out with all you guys. We're going to be gaming it up as well, and doing a immediate episode afterwards. So it's going to be a good time, guys, and I hope everyone's excited. And please, if you're not already following us, Ryan, tell everyone our due diligence to where they can find us, and so they can join in on conversations about E3 when it all drops.
You can listen to us at SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play. You can find us on Facebook.com/NOS. You can find us on Twitter at Nintendo_NOS. And if you want to shoot us an email, you can get a hold of us at NintendoNostalgiaIN@gmail.com.
Perfect. Yeah, and you can find me personally at NOSJacob73. That's on Twitter.
You can find me personally at Metroid Hunter.
And I am at Mr. Boomski on Twitter.
Perfect, guys. Awesome. Well, everybody, I hope you have enjoyed our E3 predictions episode. This was the first of many future episodes like this that we looked really forward to doing. And you can agree with us, or you could be laughing at your laughing to yourself about how absurd Tom is with his predictions and loving Jacob's Diddy Kong Racing 2. So
let us know in that Facebook group. I love that group so much. It's kind of the highlight of me every day, checking everything and arguing with people. It's fun.
Yeah, and guys, you know what? The way you help us continue to grow so it's even more fun is spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family members, get them to listen to our show. Go to our iTunes, like our page, please, or give us a 5-star rating and leave us a comment, and like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Because the bigger we get, the more we're able to afford to do more things. And before we close out here, Tom has a fun idea that we're going to do for E3. He's going to lay out some groundwork here, and we'll also be posting on it with social media. So, Tom, why don't you let him know about that?
Yeah, definitely. This will all go up Thursday with the episode and things too. So if you don't remember it all, don't worry, it'll be written down. So what we want to do this year is we want to do a little E3 bingo. I got some E3 bingo cards. I'll upload that to the Facebook group for you guys to have. But I would love for us to all kind of fill out our predictions on there. So there's 25 spaces, of course, a free space. You'll love the free space. Don't sweat. But there's all these free spaces, and just write down your predictions. Write down your predictions of what you think they're going to talk about, what they're going to reveal, different things like that. And we're going to keep score like a bingo game. And the way we're going to score it this year is you get 5 points for each one you get correct. So if you get you got one thing right, Mario Odyssey, great, 5 points for you, sir. But then every bingo, so whenever you connect, 5 across, 5 diagonal, 5 up and down, whatever, that adds a multiplier to your total score. So let's say you get 5 predictions right, that's 25 points, but those 5 happen to connect, in a straight line. That's times 2. Each bingo is worth times 2. So the more bingos you get, the higher your score will be. So I'm looking forward to winning this, obviously. So different things like that. But we'll have that up Thursday with this episode for you guys to be able to play along with us, because I would love to win this and rub it in everyone's face.
What is there a prize, Tom, that we're going to hand out to if a grand winner or something?
Yeah, we will. We'll probably get you a little prize there for competing and winning. Again, if you can beat me, that's the real if right there.
I've got an idea for the prize. How about the winning person who got the highest score can actually come on an episode of Nintendo Nostalgia and bring in their favorite game?
Excellent. That's a great idea.
Wow.
Mine was gonna have way more logistics and be probably kind of lame in the end. That's an excellent idea. Let's go with Ryan's idea.
Well, let's go with you. Heard it here, folks. Breaking news ideas. You will be a guest.
Win an episode, yes.
You get to be on an episode of Nintendo Nostalgia, and you will get to decide what game we cover. Nintendo only.
Yeah,
please.
that's awesome. Yeah, Nintendo only.
Yes, because I will not know anything else outside of Nintendo. And we're not Nintendo Nostalgia, but whatever. So, guys, that's all for today. Thank you so much, and we look forward to dropping a live. Well, it's not live. We'll be doing an episode again right after the direct, and you'll get that next Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that, and it's going to be chaotic because we'll be full of excitement or rage, and there will be 6 of us on the episode. So we look forward to it. It's gonna be great. So with that said, guys, I will we'll catch you later. All right, see ya.
Bye.
Later.